So welcome to Talking Sonics. I hope you're really well indeed. Thank you for joining me. I'm back again, left Victoria, now on the Gold Coast, and I'm here to give you my first impressions of being here. It's been a very long move, post-COVID and post me having COVID. I've taken a long time to recover from that, settle the family in here and just, get work and life underway and setting up this nice little mixing space. So, sort of been working on some projects, but I'm here to give you my first impressions of living on the Gold Coast and really what the music scene's about here. And I thought I would be getting here to just record more stuff, find some other musicians to work with, and that might be about it. I had no idea that there are venues, there are bands of all kinds, rock bands, soul bands, funk bands, rap artists, folk, acoustic, country artists, you name it, they're all here. I mean, there's even literally 2 k's from me a punk rock venue here in Southport. So I'm just a little bit north of Surfers Paradise. If you know Surfers Paradise on the Gold Coast, the next suburb north is Southport. So a lot going on here. Now, I picked the brains of my good friend Richard Stoles down at Woodstock Studios in Melbourne, and I said, now, who has a studio? I haven't heard of any good studios on the Gold Coast. And he immediately mentioned a young chap called George Carpenter, a very talented producer. And he said, look, he's got a little studio in the hinterland. And I went up and saw that space. And what a talented guy, lovely guy. We had a great conversation about music and music production. He's got some gems of things, vintage pianos, lovely drums, great little consoles, a fantastic outboard, a very beautiful little project studio. So great listening to some of the work that George has been doing with local artists. That's been an interesting little introduction. Incidentally, I sort of somewhere along the way posted a picture of Christina Amphlett, or a photograph of an artwork that my father, Ivan Durant, painted of Chrissy Amphlett from the Divinals, the lead singer from the Melbourne-based rock band, or I guess Melbourne-Sydney-based rock band, very famous band here in the 80s and 90s. And that photo of Christina Amphlett, or the painting of the photo that's in the Australian National Portrait Gallery, that led to a bit of an introduction to a nephew of Christina Amphlett, that is Dave Amphlett, who plays drums in a great soul band called Heavy Wax and an alternative rock band called Valleys, which I managed to catch up with Dave and then go and see him play down at Studio 56, which is part of the complex called Miami Marqueta, which is this wonderful open plan, kind of night market, food stalls, heaps of action happening there. And there's a sort of separate rock music venue to one side of the sort of market open plan area there. Really great acoustics, great in-house PA. The band sounded incredible. Really good job, guys. So Dave, if you're listening, very impressed with your drumming, and the songs are great. So check out Valleys. And another artist that came to the fore is someone called Cools, or Jules, I believe her name is, but she is pretty cool. Cools with a K, and she has a new single that's been launched in the last sort of month called Coffee, which is, I believe, a story about sort of reflecting on some of the negativities and giving yourself time to enjoy life and enjoy your own soul. So it's a little bit of a discovery song, but I've been putting that on to a Spotify playlist. So there's a Talking Sonics Spotify playlist with some of my favourite tunes. So check out Cools on there, and some tracks by Valleys. Also, Endless Circle single from yours truly, and some other great Australian and international releases, and a few sort of historic sort of tracks in there as well. So, Talking Sonics on Spotify, check out the playlist, it's up now. So other than that, I also couldn't help but integrate a little bit into the playing scene here. I did a little show at a blues bar called Den Divine, which was kind of tough for me because I hadn't played for a very long time live, and I needed to kind of do 3 hours of playing. It was pretty solid stuff, but surprise to me, I ended up having family visit, which was kind of a nice surprise. I know that I have my cousin and uncle that live here, but my other cousin and his wife from Western Australia happened to be on the Gold Coast at the time, so they flew over, and my parents came in, and then it turned out being my wife and my 2 sons came, and they just loved the show. And my 5-year-old son Ulysses, he's just become obsessed with Stratocasters and playing guitar, and has been watching a lot of John Mayer with me. Ulysses, if you're watching, hello. Yes, we'll find you a John Mayer Stratocaster for Christmas, I guess. If I can find the money for you, I'm sure I will. Where there's a will, there's a way. But, you know, in terms of seeing a lot of music venues on the Gold Coast and bands playing from all sorts of genres, of course, Hotter, House of the Arts, is another venue here on the Gold Coast that has an underground stage venue, the Basement. So that's a great venue. Also, there are outdoor stages, and because the weather's fantastic on the Gold Coast and Brisbane, there are lots of festivals happening all the time. So outdoor stages, you might have seen my last video about Blues on Broadbeach, which is an annual festival here. So really lively music scene, and there's a great little Facebook group called Gold Coast Musicians, and I'm finding the conversation there really supportive. People post their music videos of the new releases, new singles. People ask for professional advice, and the communication is pretty damn amazing. Actually, it's really friendly. All of my guitars have sort of, the necks have moved and buzzing and so on. So I've just had to adjust my custom built Merv Cargill Stratocaster. I'll talk about that in a future video. But yeah, the guitars need settling in. So the humidity is in the air here. We're in a sort of semi or subtropical environment. So the timber in the guitars absorb that moisture that makes the necks more dense, that adds additional tension to the neck. So the truss rods need to be loosened off on the guitar. So yeah, it's a really big change in climate from Melbourne, Victoria, or that environment. Previously in Victoria, I was in Benalla, so that's closer to the Alps. So we'd have really, really cool winters and quite dry climate, very dry summers as well. So the guitars have been kind of going crazy trying to settle in. But, you know, I mean, so what does the future hold here? Well, I'm doing some additional writing. I'm sort of getting well into learning more on guitar. That means that, what do I mean by that? Well, I sort of learned guitar as a child to a certain point till I was about 15 and just accepted the knowledge I had. But now I just feel like there's some more time to sort of listen and play and better myself, so that's been happening. I've also been mixing some previously recorded songs, and I've also been digging out some things from my past, so putting together an album of tracks of lost tapes. And when I say lost tapes, well, these were recordings that I produced between 1998 and about 2005. So lots of songs I recorded at a point where I had no record deal. Really, the digital distribution networks were not in place. I think iTunes had just launched maybe in the sort of early 2000s. So really, for independent musicians, there wasn't an outlet. I recorded so much stuff, so many songs that I really loved, particularly after coming back from a songwriting session with LA musician Tom DeLuca, and that experience encouraged me to write some really good pop songs. and think about structure and beat and groove. So it was a good sort of learning time, but unfortunately these songs were lost. So I've been going through those, remixing some of them. 10 Little Pigeons is a funny, quirky song that's part of this mix. Quite inspired by Marcy Playground, if you know that era of music and the sort of tongue-in-cheek stories behind their stuff. So that will probably come out as a single soon.
10 little pigeons in the back, waiting there to die, not expecting hammer time, coming down on their heads, breaking the walls, never knew what it meant.
Also another track called Celty Guys I'm working on a video for. So much creativity going down here, but life and work is also taking time to get in order, I guess. So that's why I've been off the air with the YouTube channel. So I'm aiming now, hopefully, that I've got this space set up, I've got my lighting happening. I've kind of just been working out how to make it look right because I'm in a different room, different lighting environment, and quite tricky to get it right. So hopefully this is looking okay. So thanks for joining me on Talking Sonics. I hope to see you soon. If you haven't subscribed before, tap the bell, push the buttons, click here, there. You know what to do. If you're interested, please subscribe, and I hope to see you very soon. Take care.